It's crazy to think that as James and I headed into the tail end of 2019, we had a vague idea of wanting to provide more tools and support for midlifers, which is how the Midlife Mentors podcast was originally born.
Fast forward through a pandemic that shut the world and our main business down for almost 2 years, and that podcast is now in the top 1.5% globally, and we get messages from listeners around the world. Never underestimate the importance of small steps to make big progress over time, nor the impact of being bold with your choices. Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no-nonsense way.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Midlife Mentors with me, James.
And me, Claire. How are you all? So we're going to freestyle this a little bit, aren't we?
Oh. We're inspired by this actually because we ran a retreat last weekend, and this was one of the things we were talking about with clients. And then also, I think we were just reflecting on our own journey.
Yes, because this is a day late. So normally we send this out on a Saturday. Obviously, we're actually sending this out on a Sunday. We're recording it in the morning and it's going to go out shortly. But it's our anniversary. It's our 5-year anniversary. And it feels like about the 15th anniversary because we've been through so much together. But it kind of inspired us. James also did an amazing post about this a few days ago around basically small steps that build up over time and being bold. So it's kind of, we're coming at this from two angles. We're coming at from a place of reflection the last couple of years, which have been really, really hard for everyone. We're coming at it from the angle of it being our anniversary, but also, you know, now the world seems to be opening up a lot more. It does make you think, my goodness, you know, what do we get through in the last couple of years? And what have you all got through in the last couple of years? And how some small steps that we didn't think they were that important at the time, and some disappointments actually that we, so many disappointments that we've had over time, how they've actually really served us and how those small changes build up into beautiful things.
I know. So that's what we're going to talk about. Small steps, big changes, and also the importance of taking bold action, I think, because that was something that came through when we were talking on the retreat, and also when we were reflecting, you know, we looked at some of the choices. And here's the thing, you always want your choices to work, but the reality is some do and some don't. But, you know, as long as you've got your balance sheet with more that work than don't work, you're going to be all right.
Yeah. So let's tell you a little bit. So we did our retreat last week. That was amazing. And then this coming week, so starting tomorrow, we've been busy little bees. Again, this is about being bold. This is exactly what we're going to talk about. You know, we're running a retreat expert course for people that want to set up, sell out and scale their retreats. We want to pass the baton, basically, onto leaders of retreats for the future. Because James started running them like 11 years ago now. I joined him just over 6 years ago, 7 years ago. I always get it wrong. It's been such a long time. It feels like forever.
In the best way.
But you know, James and I have made it into a 6-figure business. We've been on loads of press, international press, and I think James worked out that we've won about 8 awards. So we're in a really good place actually to talk about all the mistakes. Again, this is what this podcast is about as well. All the mistakes and all the pitfalls for these people that are starting to run their retreats or looking to expand their retreats to avoid, and just have that support and accountability that we never had. Like, we were making all these mistakes without any spreadsheets, without a roadmap or anything. So we just want to help people fast track their way to success and freedom and, you know, more abundance. So we're really excited about taking that bold step, and that starts tomorrow. It
is. We welcomed everyone into the group yesterday, actually. It was really lovely.
So many lovely people in there. But that's really different for us because we've always done B2C, so been business to consumer. This time we're actually helping other people with their businesses. So it feels really exciting, but bold.
It does.
Bit nervous, but bold.
So let's break this down. So my reflection was, we tend to always think of success as linear. So if we do X, then Y will be the result. And it would be lovely if that turned out. But in fact, it's like a roller coaster ride. We do X, but then M happens, then we jump to P, and then back to Q, and it's all over the shop. Yes, we can plan and prepare, and that helps us have a roadmap and go forward. But also, life's going to throw you curveballs. And certainly a curveball for us was, and for most people, was the pandemic. Heading into 2020, we were gearing up for probably one of our most successful seasons. I think we were like almost 80% sold out, multiple retreats in Ibiza, and of course, the whole lot disappeared pretty much overnight, in the space of a week or so.
And what we are not telling you there is how much we'd worked to get to that place. So even to get to 2019 and 2020 were looking amazing, but we'd had a couple of years before that were really, really hard, and we were trying so many different things. We invested money in coaches that didn't work out, Facebook ads, and all these different strategies from the gurus that never worked out. So we'd worked really hard to get to that point.
We had worked really hard to get to the point. So, and also this thing like Claire and I work on the same business together, which is amazing, and we're so blessed to do that. But it does also mean all your eggs in one basket. So it wasn't like we had the comfort of I was running this and Claire had a job, we could fall back on that salary, or vice versa. It was all dependent on us. And not only obviously were no new bookings coming in, we're having to refund everyone back. So.
Which is huge, guys. Which is really massive, huge. But ethically, there were some people, some retreats companies out there that were holding on to it, saying, "Oh, we'll just hold on to it till the next year, the next year." And we were like, "No, that doesn't feel right to us." So we were sat there going, "Okay, morally, and we're going to be rewarded by the universe for doing the right moral thing." And we were.
So we thought about it. We're like, "Oh, what could we do?" We were coming up to Easter, I think, and we would have been doing a sold-out retreat in Ibiza, and we were like, "Let's do a virtual retreat." Haven't seen anyone else doing this. We thought, how will it work? And I think we overcomplicated it first. We were like Zooms.
Doesn't sound like us.
And we decided, if we just create a Facebook group, drop everyone in there, just go live in it with the workouts, the workshops, get other experts in. And you know what? We ran those all through lockdown, and I know they helped so many people.
We were featured in the Evening Standard,
Metro. We had a little video made about us by Vitality.
Yeah.
But we helped and connected so many people, and we're still feeling the reverberations of that now. And it was really nice, and we did that basically we could see how people were struggling, so we want to put these tools out there. We just asked people that they could donate to charities. We raised money for
we did.
mental health charities and
London Zoo.
So that's what we decided to do with our retreat business. We're like, let's go virtual, but let's just make it available for free to try and reach as many people as possible.
No money, just all going to charity. And then at the same time, which we'd been dabbling with since the beginning of 2019. This podcast has been going that long. So as you all know, I'm sure by now, the Midlife Mentors podcast was the first dabble into the midlife demographic, basically, because we were there and most of our clients were there. And then we'd launched at the end of 2019 a beta of the Midlife Method. And we took people through it, they loved it. But then we overcomplicated it.
People might not know, the Midlife Method is an 8-week coaching program specifically designed for the midlife mind, body and soul. So it's physical movement, it's nutritional coaching, it's habit coaching, it's looking at your limiting beliefs, it's mindset workshops, building success mindset, all supported by us, of course. So that was the first beta we ran.
Yeah, and then we just overcomplicated it again. We spent thousands of money we didn't have on another coach that was making this whole launch, helping us launch this whole thing, really overcomplicated way of doing it. And we got ourselves in a right pickle. This was before the pandemic hit, actually. So we flew over to Ibiza, we recorded all these videos for all the launch, and it was none of it. We didn't use any of it. So when we're saying the mistakes that we've made, just overcomplicated it and always, maybe not following our heart enough and following what other people were telling us to do, which didn't feel very authentic, to be quite honest with you. So we actually didn't use any of that at all. And then we sat there overcomplicating, because this is what I do as well. I'm a recovering perfectionist, so everything needed to be perfect. And then when the pandemic hit, we just literally, we had nothing else. So we had to go out with the Midlife Method as it was. And luckily we found an amazing coach, Nicole. If you ever listen to this, you're the one that actually helped us get off our butts and actually send it out there. And my God, it flew. It started to fly, didn't it?
It did.
We were like, oh, we've spent 18 months trying to get this off the ground, and when the chips are down and we've just put ourselves out there, this is what happens. So it was a real lesson to us to go when you're not ready, to get it out there and stop overcomplicating it.
Yeah, I mean, I say here's a couple of points, a couple of learning points at this point in the podcast. Go when you're not ready. Less is more, and good today is better than perfect 18 months down the line. Because you know what, I think without the pandemic, because our main business was retreats, we would have naturally kept on focusing on that. Probably would have dragged our feet even more over that, spent more time, perfecting the methodology, all this stuff. Actually, it doesn't need. Of course, it's enhanced and it's even better now than it was. But it's such a superb program. But and we wouldn't have got off the ground if we'd had more time and more space. It's that you can easily fill space and let the doubts creep in. So one of the things we would say is do take the action, just get going.
Be brave. And then, since then, we've just invested in loads of different things. We've put ourselves out there. James is really good at firing off arrows. If you've heard us say this before, James is a Sagittarius. So I love all you Sagittarians out there, but you do fire your arrows and hope that some of them hit. So he's been doing that. He's always been doing that. And then actually, we've just tried loads of different things, invested money. Some of them have worked, some of them haven't. But it's got us to the place that we're at now, which is we're working with corporates. Again, that was putting ourselves out there. We work with really massive corporates now, which is really exciting. We've just started running our retreats again, which is just heavenly and amazing. And as we said right at the beginning of this podcast, putting ourselves out there to help other people run retreats. So, we're always, when we get money in, this is another thing that does make us successful. It does make us successful. We're never we're not so afraid now to go, okay, we've got some money in, what's the next step? Because you've always got to grow. If you're an entrepreneur, you've always got to keep going, okay, how can I improve this? How do I invest this so that our life becomes easier and we can help more people? Because you do get bogged down in the running of the business. I mean, we're still here, be it hands up, we're still, bogged down in the day-to-day running of business elements that actually aren't playing to our strengths. We're both doing bits and bobs that we're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. But, it's okay, where do we invest now? We've invested in someone to do some of our social media. We're investing in other people to look at our accounts, for example. So it's not hoarding your success. It's actually going, okay, how can I help more people with what we've got already? Yeah,
I think it's a big thing there about taking energetic action. If you come from a place of wanting to hold on, that's basically sending a signal that you want to stay where you are. So it's about, where can I push my energy? Where should I be diverting my energy? And money is just one form of energy. But look at your life energetically. Where are you holding on to stuff rather than pushing out for growth? Yeah,
and actually, where can you start making small steps? Because this is one of the things that we talk about all the time, and even looking back at our life and how it's all rolled out. We'll say you do not need to make big. Sometimes you need to be bold, right? So this is a balance of what we're saying here. Sometimes you need to be super bold and make big decisions, but actually, you also just need to make those small incremental steps as you go along the way. I did a post about this the other day, and I said, when I'm doing one-to-one coaching, when someone says to me, instead of pouring a third glass of wine, I went and poured myself a soda water instead, or instead of having the chocolate biscuit, I actually had a peppermint tea. Or instead of snoozing my alarm, I got up and did my workout. It's those tiny, tiny decisions that most people don't give themselves credit for, but it's those small little changes over time that help you gain trust in yourself, confidence in yourself. It's those things that start to make the new person. When you choose your higher self or the higher reason or the higher why each and every time over the quick fix, what we call the reptilian brain. We've got that reptilian brain that goes, oh, have it, do this, do that. It's like the 9-year-old child that just wants to hang on to what it's got. Once you say, I'm going to choose this part of myself rather than that part of myself, these small little incremental changes start to build up over time.
And I would say, we're always saying, don't look back, you're not going that way. We should always look forward to growth. But sometimes it is useful to pause and just reflect. what's also useful is if you can remember accurately where you came from. And this came to me when I was writing this post, basically just reflecting on the last 2 years. It has felt longer than 2 years. I think part of the reason that is when I actually reflected back, the amount of things that Claire and I have crammed in is quite amazing. But I was
Ridiculous.
thinking, 2 years ago, we had a retreats business that was basically wiped out by COVID. We had a podcast we just kind of started, and we were dipping our toes in online training.
I'm going to say this on a personal level. We'd been made homeless as well.
2 years later, we're splitting our time between Marbella and London. We've taken out hundreds of clients through our programming. We're working with corporates. Our podcast is top 1.5% globally. And I'm like, wow, actually, there's a whole load of other stuff as well. That's in 2 years. Because you're in it sometimes, and it's all happening gradually. This is the science of the small steps, I guess. You sometimes don't notice it, and you can't appreciate actually how far you've come and how you've achieved. And this is why when we are working with clients on their transformation, one thing is on the physical side, we're obviously doing things like taking measurements and taking photos, but also working on things like look at where they're feeling about certain aspects of their life now and scoring those and evaluating them. And then when they come out the other side later, you're looking at the change. And then they're like, wow, I'm so glad I did that. I'm so glad I took those photos at the start. I'm so glad I did that life energy evaluation at the start, because where I am now, I've come such a long way in such a short time. So,
and that's what I meant about incremental changes. It's just those little things, those little behaviour changes, those little things that you just don't give yourself credit for, that you don't think are big deals, but it's those are the ones that are the bigger deals. For James and I, when we dug in and made these small decisions as well, they're the ones that have led us to the life we're leaving now. So, yeah, we just wanted to share that with you. We just kind of wanted to get on and do a little ramble about where we're at, really, because, it's obviously we're coming into spring. Yay! We're coming in spring. The mornings are lighter, and actually we're starting to come out of our winter slumber. And I do think it's a really, winter is a really good time to reflect on where you've been the year before. But also, as we come out, it's a good time to reevaluate that, but also start looking ahead again. So, what are some of the small steps that you can start, small little tiny steps that you can start taking towards your bigger goal? This is when we take people through, goal setting and all that sort of stuff. It's about what can I do over the next couple of weeks, these small little changes that I can do that are going to take me towards my bigger goal. When you focus on the really, really big goal, you become very, very overwhelmed. And that doesn't even matter, that big goal. It's great to have it, and it's really, really good to know where you're going, but obsessing over that is actually going to make you fall off the wagon. It's going to overwhelm you. So actually focusing on those small little tiny changes and celebrating them. That's what we love as coaches. We love celebrating those small things that clients do that don't think that they're big, and they are. They're so huge. And then starting to look back and say, okay, even in 8 weeks, where have I come from? Like, what am I now doing? Am I getting up every morning and doing a workout? Or, am I making better food choices? It's these things. You're choosing your higher self, the true self, over that reptilian brain. And it's massive, absolutely massive. So what small steps can you start changing?
Absolutely. Your future is formed by the steps you take today. So start taking those steps.
And also, be bold. Be bold. What thing have you been putting off doing or thinking about because you are coming from a place of fear rather than love? So what bold thing can you do? You will always end up okay. And I know that sounds, how do you know that? How do you know that? Because we do know that. Every time you take bold action, whether it's wrong or right, it's always leading you to the place that you need to be. So always know that you're going to be okay. And actually a life being fearful of taking action, it's a life half-lived. We never, even though we've made so many mistakes and have spent so much money, time and energy on doing things that haven't worked, we don't regret a moment of them because we've gained confidence, we've gained respect for ourselves, and we are able to help other people make those decisions and say, you're going to be all right. It's okay. It's safe to do this, because the person you're going to become on the way there is the most important thing. It's not even about whether you fall, whether you pick yourself back up again, whatever. It's actually about who you become on the way there and who you are becoming next. So there we are.
There we go. Get out there, start taking those steps, be bold, and have a wonderful week.
Sending you lots of love. Bye.
been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
We'd love to hear from you, so drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under the Midlife Mentors.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.